All right, welcome back to the Red and Blue Fight Pick Show. We are here to break down and give our picks for UFC Atlanta, Buckley versus Usman. But first, we're going to recap our picks from last week from UFC 316, Dvalishvili versus O'Malley 2. Unfortunately, another losing week. We're going to get into it, and a certain someone here is going to have a lot of explaining to do. I won't say who, but we started in the lightweight division. Markel Medeiros beat Mark Chewinski by decision. I was leaning the Medeiros side by decision. I think Red Ray was leaning Chewinski plus 3.5, which didn't come through. Medeiros looked good on the feet. Chewinski couldn't get him down. A lot of brutal leg kicks. Dropped him from leg kicks, almost finished him. But Medeiros looked good. I think he looks like he continues to improve. Short notice fight for Chewinski. Maybe a full training camp next time, and we'll see how he looks. Moving up the card, we kept it in the lightweight division. Quillian Salkild defeated Yanal Ashmutz by decision. Pretty competitive fight, but the difference here was the wrestling. 23 attempts by Salkild, got 8 of them, had some control. Ashmutz was giving it everything he had, trying to finish him in the last round. Got a couple of points on the scorecards, but ultimately Salkild got the win by decision. Next, we went to the men's featherweight division as we had Jaka Sakar against Jo Sang Yu and Red Ray. What happened here?
Sergey just ran across the cage, threw a haymaker, and a nice little left check hook by Yu there, and knocked him out cold, just flat. I think he almost died. I'm not sure he was on the cage. He was on the ground for a significant amount of time. I think he had to get carried out of there. So
absolutely
upsetting.
Brutal knockout. I think it's up there for knockout of the year so far. And Red Ray was on Saragi by KO or Ju Sang Yu by submission. So unfortunately, we started off on the wrong foot. And then we went back to that same wrong foot, or Red Ray did, again, is into the women's flyweight division. And Red Ray was on fight to end by TKO. And Red Ray, what happened?
Wang landed 142 significant strikes in a purely standing up affair for 15 minutes and somehow didn't get a TKO, even though Lipsky was only on one leg for about half the fight. So I don't count that one as a loss. That was a good call on my part, and it just didn't come through for me. It was an unlucky play.
Yeah, Wong Kong dominated this fight. She did drop her with the leg kicks. I thought she was going to finish her. Didn't really have a lot of sense of urgency. Probably didn't really need to do too much more to get the finish. And just didn't get it done. But this is a very one-sided fight after De Silva missed weight by 7 pounds. Very unacceptable. Moving up the card, I'm disappointed we didn't give out an official pick on this because we did like Andreas Gustafsson. Absolute domination by Gustafsson. I know Red Ray and I were texting that we were on this on our own, and it was a very impressive performance. A lot of people were picking Cass Williams, and we just didn't see it. I was really proud of this pick, even though we didn't give out an official one, but he won 30-26 on 2 of the scorecards. Very exciting fighter. In my opinion, always coming forward, looking for damage at all times. Moving up the card, this was my loss on the night, although I did not agree with the decision. I was on Sergey Spivak, money line, 1.3 units against Waldo Cortez Acosta. And I thought Spivak won the first round. I know Red Ray agreed with me. We were texting after the fight. Red Ray did score it for Waldo Cortez Acosta. I had the first and third rounds for Spivak. And what was strange about this was that all the judges gave Cortez Acosta the first round, even though Red Ray himself scored the first round for Spivak, as did I. I know a lot of people on Twitter were scoring this for Spivak. I can't call it a robbery because I went on a big rant a few weeks ago about what a robbery is and isn't. This wasn't a super dominant one-sided fight by Spivak. I just thought he did more of the big significant strikes in rounds 1 and 3. Um, I did think he lost the second round pretty clearly. But ultimately, what I thought was going to happen in the fight was that Spivak was going to be able to take him down, beat him up, or finish him by submission. And that wasn't the case at all. So, I didn't feel as uh, disappointed by the outcome because I was wrong in what I thought was going to happen. But I still thought Spivak won the fight. I was proud of him for fighting through the third round after getting beat up in the second. I thought he brought it home. I really did, but unfortunately got that one wrong. Moving up the card, this was our 2 unit play. Azamat Murzakanov by KO was minus 190, and we had the under 2.5 rounds. Very sweat free. This was an easy one for us. Yeah, not much to say other than he knocked him out in the first round and looked great. So, uh, but a lot to say with this one. Red Ray's got some more explaining to do as he was on Bruno Silva finish only at plus 350 over Joshua Van. Red Ray, what happened here?
I just thought that the guy who can't get finished by anybody against the guy who doesn't finish anybody, that it was a safe play, and it looked like he was going to survive. He got dropped a couple of times the first couple of rounds, and actually made me feel good about it because he was battling through it like I knew he would. He's a battler, and then just unfortunately just finally succumbed to the strikes in the third.
Yeah, I think that this may, of your 4 picks, um, which one would you say you regret the most? Would you say it was this one, or
I
would
mean,
you?
I don't regret any of my picks. The
Okay,
the
my
thought
my
process is
apologies.
still there. I mean, they're all locked in.
Gotcha. Moving up the card, we went to the main card, and Red Ray is going to finish his explaining for last week as he was on Vicente Luque to get one takedown against Kevin Holland. Red Ray, what happened here?
I mean, I he did. I mean, Holland pulled guard. I think that should be counted as a takedown, so I would think it was a safe play. But as a Vicente Luque fan, I was very excited by the performance because he took a lot of big shots in the first round. And I thought he was, I mean, he obviously lost by sub. We don't love that, but we love that he was like taking the shots properly. And it wasn't like the Buckley fight where he kind of just quit. This was a legit Kevin Holland win. I liked how Luque was actually looking. I know he lost the first round, but I like to see the heart in there. So while the bet didn't hit, as a Luque fan, I was pretty excited by the performance.
Yeah, I was excited by the performance too because I picked Kevin Holland in a 1.7 unit play for Blue Bart. I was very confident in Kevin Holland. Um, I wouldn't say it was like the most one-sided fight of all time by any means, but I never felt discouraged by what I was seeing and eventually got the finish in the second round. Moving up the card, we were both on Mario Batista, but I gave out Mario Batista plus 7.5. Um, and what was probably the shocker of the night, I know, again, a lot of other people were on Patchy Mix. We liked Mario Batista. We thought he had significantly better striking. We thought he had good enough takedown defense. I really don't know what Patchy Mix's game plan was. I mean, on paper, kind of like Spivak, everyone thought he was going to try to take him down and finish him. He attempted one lackluster takedown and this kids friendly show. Attempted one poor takedown and didn't get him down, and then he just got beat up on the feet the entire fight. A very one-sided beatdown for Batista. He looked great. Super sweat free pick for me between him and Holland, and I cashed the 1.7 unit play. Moving up the card, we had Joe Pfeiffer in the 3 unit parlay, and it was pretty sweat free. A pretty boring performance. He did drop Gastelum twice, almost finished in the first round, dropped him again in the second, but really low volume. It was when he actually attempted a takedown, he got him down so easily. I was texting Red Ray halfway through the second round, and I said, um, I get that he's winning. He's landing the big strikes. He's dropped him twice, but I just feel like he could be absolutely smothering Gastelum and get a finish on the ground if he really just wanted to. And he really didn't want to. They were getting booed. He lost the third round on one of the scorecards. Um, yeah, just a boring performance from Pfeiffer, but I still think he's a great prospect going forward. Moving up the card in the co-main event of the night, we were on Kayla Harrison by submission. And what did she do, Red Ray?
She got that nice submission, a nice little Kimura. She snuck it in there. I didn't even wasn't even looking like she was going to get anything into the second
Happened
round.
very fast. 10
Very quickly.
seconds left. She was able to grab and snatch the arm and um, tear it behind Pena's head and got her to tap very quickly. Um, that was a one unit play for us, and we cashed that. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the main event as we were on Sean O'Malley plus 9.5, meaning we needed him to win one round and the fight to go to decision or for him to win by KO or submission or decision, of course. The first fight, he did cover this. It was 48-47, 48-47, and 49-46. We thought this fight was going to be more competitive. Um, I would argue it was. It was very similar to the first fight. Merab did get the takedown in the first, beat him up a little bit. The second round was very close. One judge gave it to O'Malley. I had it for Merab. I know Red Ray had it for O'Malley. And then the third round was definitely a Merab round, and then ended up finishing him with the north-south choke, which I haven't seen someone get finished by a north-south choke in I don't know how long. I was pretty disappointed he tapped to that. I was curious if it was more of a neck crank versus a choke, um, because if it was a choke from that position, I feel like there was ways he could have tried to get out of it or at least go to sleep. I mean, there wasn't that much time left. So that's why I think it was more of a pressure crank. Red Ray, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think it was a choke at all. It looked like he was trying to get a Darson, and then he rolled, and then I mean, I don't know if he must have gotten stuck, or else he just gave up. I'm not sure because you don't just stick in the north south when the choke is in. So he could have moved either. Honestly, he could have moved either way and would have gotten out of it. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, that was a really disappointing way for the fight to end. I don't know if our pick would have cashed. Um, I think O'Malley was still very live to win the fourth or fifth round, land some big strikes. That's all he would have needed. But he tapped to a guy who hasn't finished anyone um, since 2021 when he finished someone who has zero cardio. And then prior to that, he hadn't finished anyone since 2017. We know Merab's a decision machine. It was the first time O'Malley was finished. He was finished once before from an injury, but I don't really count that. Either way, that was a part of the 3 unit play, and unfortunately, it did not come through, leaving us to be down 2.99 units on the week. Um, I was giving Red Ray a very hard time, but prior to this week, I was also struggling very consistently. So it's a new week. We're still up 2.43 units overall on the year. Um, we give out 12 units each week, and I like the picks for this week. So let's get right into it. We are doing UFC Atlanta, Usman versus Buckley. And we start in the women's flyweight division. I'm going to take this one first. We have Jamie Lynn Horth at minus 575 with the comeback on Vanessa Demopoulos at plus 425. Um, this is a pretty easy layup for Jamie Lynn Horth, in my opinion. She's the much better striker. She's the bigger woman. She's 5'7" versus the 5'2" Demopoulos. Demopoulos has no striking at all. Lynn Horth is actually a kickboxer. Um, and she can wrestle a little bit. We just saw Demopoulos get absolutely dominated by Alan Carr with the wrestling. I think Demopoulos' path would have to be to try to wrestle, and I don't think that's going to work. I think Lynn Horth is going to be too big, a little too strong, and I think she's going to beat her up on the feet. Demopoulos has never been finished by KO. We haven't seen Lynn Horth finish anyone from KO so far in the UFC. She's 2-2. Every fight's gone to decision. Demopoulos 5-5 overall in the UFC. Um, I like Lynn Horth by decision. I didn't see a line out for it yet because this was a short notice take for Vanessa Demopoulos, and we're still a little early in the week here on Wednesday night. No line for this yet. I'm going to assume it's going to be around minus 250, but that's going to be my official pick is Jamie Lynn Horth by decision. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Yeah, not much to say in this one. I don't understand what Demopoulos is doing taking this fight. She's going to be so much smaller than Horth here. I mean, she's a small straw weight, and Horth has fought at 135 before, so she's going to be 5 inches taller. And I mean, she looked ginormous against Maverick last fight, and Maverick, while she's the same height as Demopoulos, is just jacked. So it's going to look like people are going to see the weigh-ins and they're going to wonder why this was even sanctioned. But I don't know. I don't see Demopoulos really having a path here. Obviously, she can throw up submissions from the bottom, but I don't think Horth is the worst. So I mean, she wasn't even. I mean, Maverick's a high-level black belt herself, and she grappled with her for almost 3 minutes and didn't have any issues grappling with her. So um, I think you said you have Horth by decision. I could see her honestly winning anyway. I think she's so much bigger than Demopoulos that she could KO her. She took Mavericks back and had a rear naked choke in last fight. If she can do that to Maverick, she can easily do that to Demopoulos. So I can see her subbing Demopoulos, and obviously, I think the most common way is a decision. But I think Horth wins this, however way she wants to win it.
Okay, let's move up the card. Go to the men's welterweight division as we have Phil Rowe at plus 110 with the comeback on Angie Loosa at minus 130. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Should be a competitive fight. Rowe's obviously up and down fighter. Seems like he's a guy with a lot of talent that doesn't ever seem to come through when he needs to. The Neil Magny fight really sticks out where he really all he had to do, he was piecing Neil Magny up from range and just had to not go in the clinch against Neil Magny, which should have been the number one thing that they trained in their fight camp. And he just continuously allowed Magny to get a hold of him and just let Magny win a decision and by basically throwing no strikes. So that was a wild contest. But Rowe's a good puncher. He's got long. I mean, he's obviously super tall. He's got an 80-inch reach. Hits hard. He's got a lot of I think he's got a couple of knockouts. And for a while, I saw him. He was really grappling a lot on the regional or on like in grappling tournaments and whatnot. And so he's really trying to improve his submissions and whatnot. But I just think Loosa is going to be too big and strong for him here. We saw Loosa against another tall, rangy guy, Mcgee. So I think he's going to have a similar game plan there, where he just kind of kind of strikes in the pocket and then gets takedowns, and just grinds on top. Losa's never, not that I know of, has never been KO'd, I believe. He went 3 rounds with Jack Della Maddalena on the Contender Series. Didn't. And was super competitive in that. He had obviously had the fight against Battle where he basically quit, but he also went against Bonfim for 3 rounds and get submitted or finished there. So that was the first time we've seen Bonfim win a fight without an inside the distance. So I think Loosa is just a more durable guy. I think Rowe's only chance to victory here is if Loosa maybe gasses late just from the wrestling and whatnot, and he can maybe get a 3rd round or late round finish, but I don't see that happening. So I got Loosa by decision here.
Yeah, very similar breakdown for me. Phil Rowe, he does have 3 TKO wins in the UFC, but they were all over low-level competition, one of which was against Nico Price. In a fight he was on his way to losing, and Price just completely gassed, and he finished him with a standing TKO, as Price just wasn't defending himself. And even in the other one, the win over Jason Witt, it took a while to get that job done. Jason Witt's not good at all. Same thing with Orion uh, Kosi. Um, yeah, and then losing to mid-level guys like Neil Magny and Jake Matthews, um, I don't think speaks a lot of volumes for Phil Rowe that he is barely able to finish the lower level guys, and then he's losing to the mid-level guys. Angie Losa, I don't think he's a world beater by any means, but he's pretty good with his game plan of I'm going to try to take you down and control you and beat you up. Um, the fact that he's able to take down Gabriel Bonfim, he was able to get him down 4 times. I think he's going to have no issue getting Phil Rowe down. He's been in there, obviously, pointed out with Jack Della Maddalena. Um, I think this is a little bit of a step down for him compared to Gabriel Bonfim and Brian Battle. I think those guys are way better than Phil Rowe. Um, I think he's going to be able to take him down and beat him up. I feel pretty confident in that. Yeah, and I completely agree. Really, the only path for Phil Rowe is if Losa completely gasses in the third round and Rowe is able to finish him. But I expect 2 dominant rounds for Losa and eventually winning by decision at plus 100. We move up the card to the men's bantamweight division as we have Ricky Simone at minus 500 taking on the late notice swapperoo of Cameron Smotherman. Who's Simone supposed to fight? Do you remember?
Jordan.
That's right, Charles Jourdain. Simone looked great in his last fight, knocked out Javad Basharat. Um, Went to decision against Vinicius Oliveira. We know how good he is. Went to decision against Mario Batista. We know how good he is. Went 5 rounds with Yadong. Eventually got finished. Has been in there with really high level guys. Jack Shore, Rafael Sensao, Ray Borg, Rob Font, Raya Faber, Merab Dalashvili. He's still only 32 years old. I still think he's a great wrestler. He showed improvement on the feet with his hands with the knockout in his last fight. I've been pretty underwhelmed by Smotherman so far. We were against him in his last fight back in early May against Surrey City. City was able to take him down a few times, beat him in a pretty competitive decision. Um, Before that, he did have the short notice performance against Jake Hadley, which we were very shocked by that performance. But prior to that, he got knocked out in the Contender Series. I still think Smotherman has potential down the road. I don't think this is a good matchup for him on less than a week's notice against a veteran guy like Simone, who has more ways to win. I think he's fine on the feet, but I do think he's going to take him down at will and beat him up and maybe get a finish. But my official pick is going to be Ricky Simone by decision again because this fight was another late notice one. I don't have a line yet for Simone by decision, but that will be my official pick is Ricky Simone by decision. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Unfortunately, Jourdain dropped out of this fight because I might have just max bet Jourdain in this fight. I think he probably would have dominated pretty much all facets of the fight. But I'm not a big Ricky Simon fan. I don't think he's very good anymore. I think he used to be good. I think he used to be actually a good wrestler. At this point, I think he's now just a guy that shoots a lot of takedowns and doesn't get them. He loses the stand-up. I mean, you said he looked good against Basharat. He was getting pretty much pieced up, and he was throwing punches from about 3 feet away at all times. So he was just swinging and missing against Basharat. Thankfully, he landed a nice overhand and knocked him out. So the power's still there. I'll give him that. So that's definitely a threat. I don't think Smotherman's very good either. I think my breakdown for him against City is he doesn't do anything but punch, and that was pretty factual in the City fight. That's why he lost, because City had more weapons there. So, I mean, he just only boxes. He's a big guy. His and he did get taken down 5 times by City. All of them were in one round, and he only got 4. He got 2 minutes of control time, and that the other 2 rounds he didn't have any control time. I think Smotherman's defense is better than people are making it out to seem, and Simon's just not a good wrestler anymore. I think this fight's going to be mainly on the feet. Smotherman has the higher volume. It's not even close. Smotherman lands 5 strikes a minute compared to Simon lands under 3. Um, so I just think Smotherman could just piece him apart standing. I mean, I think Simon's best path to victory, honestly, is a KO. We saw Smotherman, like you said, get KO'd on the Contender Series against Garopoulos or Gregorio, who has lost both his fights in the UFC and got cut, so he's not very good. So the path, I mean, Simon hits harder than that guy, so he could definitely knock him out. But I'm gonna take the underdog here. So I'm gonna take Simon or Smotherman. If he wins, I think it's going to be a 3-round decision, pretty similar to the Hadley decision. I don't think he's got the power to knock out Simon. I don't think he's going to submit him or anything like that. So, but at plus 350 or whatever he's at, plus 410, I think there's value there.
Okay, moving up the card, we are in the men's flyweight division as we have Cody Durden taking on Jose Ochoa, Red Ray.
Ochoa.
Ochoa, how do you have it?
I kind of wanted to be on Durden here. The guy coming off of a loss, the guy having his first UFC fight, having a loss and then being a favorite in his next fight hasn't really been working out well. So I really wanted to be on Durden. I know it's his home. I think he's from Georgia, so it's a home fight for him. But I just don't really see a path here. Durden's never really, his stand-ups hasn't gotten any better. He seems to be having issues even taking people in control, taking him down and controlling him at this point. His cardio has never looked good. It's pretty much 2 rounds of cardio. He's tough. I'll give him that. I mean, we've seen him last fight. I think he broke his face in the first round and went all 3 rounds. So against Van. So he will, but he's not going to give up on there. He's not a quitter. But Ochoa is a clean striker. We saw him against Loner Kavanaugh. He just got out volume there. I didn't like the volume that Ochoa was throwing out there. He seemed like he was like not taking the fight seriously at moments. He was like getting hit a couple of times. He got hit pretty hard by Kavanaugh, and then would act like he does the thing where he acts like he's not getting hit hard, and I don't love that. I just didn't love the body language a lot. I mean, he just acts like he's just in cruise control when he clearly lost all 3 rounds. The one thing I did see though, he hurt Kavanaugh a little bit late in the second round, and Kavanaugh shot a takedown. And he stuffed it immediately, and then jumped on Kavanaugh's back and got his back immediately, and was almost in a rear naked choke within like 10 seconds. So I think Kavanaugh's a better grappler. I don't know about wrestler, but I think he's a better grappler than Durden. If Durden's getting hurt and then shooting lazy takedowns, I wouldn't be surprised if Kavanaugh gets a sub here. And I also think that he's going to be the significantly better striker, so I could see him winning or knocking out Durden here also. So I like Cho inside the distance.
Yeah, I'm on the same side here. With Showa, I think Loner Kavanaugh is a real prospect, and he held his own in that fight. It was his debut. I'm pretty sure he took that on short notice. He's 7-1 overall, 24 years old, trains out of Shoot a Box with Charles Oliveira, has 6 KO finishes at the flyweight. In the flyweight division is very impressive. Durden, I just don't trust him. I mean, he's got no cardio. He's finished all the time. Got destroyed by Joshua Van. He did submit Matt Schnell, but he was losing that fight until he caught him in that guillotine, which still haunts me. But yeah, I just don't trust Durden. I don't think he's that good. I don't think his striking's good at all. Yes, he's a good wrestler, but I'm taking the guy who's 10 years younger, who's the much better striker and can hold his own on the ground, need be. I feel like Durden's only path to victory would have to be like a first round submission. But other than that, I don't know how he would win. So I'm on Ochoa as well. I picked him by decision only because if Joshua Van couldn't take out Durden, then I think he's tough enough to survive against Ochoa. But moving up the card, we go to the men's bantamweight division as we have Malcolm Wellmaker at minus 2,000 with the comeback on the returning Chris Montoya. We'll start on the Montoya side here. He's been making his comeback to the UFC after a five-fight win streak against very low-level competition on the regional scene. Prior to that, he did get knocked out in the first round against a 10-8, 45-year-old Guido Canati, who hasn't fought in a few years. And prior to that, everyone remembers the fight against Sean O'Malley when he got absolutely destroyed. Sean O'Malley he landed 230 significant strikes. We'll give Montoya credit in that fight. He was very tough. Got finished on the feet. It was a good stoppage, though. Unfortunately, he has taken this fight against Malcolm Wellmaker, who has been a real problem in his short stint so far in the UFC. 2 wins by first round knockout. Knocked out my guy, Cameron Saman, in the last fight. I think Saman would beat Montoya. I think Wellmaker is minus 2,000 for a reason. I'm quite sure he's going to knock out Montoya. His knockout is minus 300. And his I know the under 1.5 is minus 175, so it might be a better way to bet that fight. Pretty walk in the park pick here. Wellmaker by KO. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Yeah, like you said all you need to say. I think Wellmaker might be the first punch he lands, might knock him out. To Chris Moutinho, not Montoya there.
Can't read.
I mean, when I was putting the graphics together, the stat that really was alarming to me was Moutinho's strikes absorbed per minute is 15.48, which is, I think, and for a guy who's had more than one fight, I think that's one of the more wildest stats I've ever seen. So he's got a nice negative 11 strikes landed per minute thing here. So he only lands 4.86. So yes, I think his like you said, he won 5 in a row on the regional scene, all against garbage opponents. So I don't think anything's really improved. The guy has no striking defense. Wellmaker is an absolute sharpshooter out there. So the guy, this is going to be his first training camp that he's had where he's not also working a job. So it's probably, I'm assuming he's getting only better. He's going to be a much bigger guy. He's going to be 3 inches bigger here. Bigger guy altogether. I mean, just going to round 1 knockout here. Wellmaker's plus 110, just load it up.
Okay, let's move up the card in the welterweight division as we have Michael Chiesa at minus 370 with the comeback on court. The Crusher Mcgee at plus 280. Red Ray, how do you have it?
2 old guys here. Got a little Michael Chiesa action. He's coming off that huge win over Tony Ferguson, where he submitted him in the first round. Court Mcgee's coming off. Is he coming off the loss to Moreno, or is that?
I believe he finished Tim Means.
Oh, that's right, the Tim Means fight. I'm sorry, I get all those old guys confused. But yeah. So he's got the 1 fight coming off. So he did look good there. I mean, I don't think Court's gotten any worse or any better probably since he came off the Ultimate Fighter. He's pretty much been the same guy for the last 10 years. So he's not a great striker. He's come back from death. He cannot be beaten by anything else, a human. I think he's only been knocked out, 1 time? Jeremiah Wells. Oh, no, Matt Brown. Well, Matt Brown doesn't. He's also a man of that's a comeback from death. So, he's been knocked out. Santiago, that was a couple years ago. So 3 knockouts. So, but yeah, so I mean, he's not a great striker. Great grappler though. Look back at his fights. He's faced a lot of good grapplers, and honestly, has never been out grappled. He's been taken down a couple of times here and there. I think the most amount of times he's ever been taken down in his fight is 2. He fought Sean Brady. This is a long time ago, 6 years ago, but Sean Brady got him down twice and only had less than a minute of control time. So I mean, Jeremiah Wells' fight finished early, but he fought Brahima, Took him down 5 times. Carlos Condit, no takedowns there. So Sean Strickland, I'm sorry, actually had the most amount of takedowns. He had 3, so that's pretty wild. But so you just never see him get taken down and controlled, and that's how Chiesa usually wins fights. He's not much of a striker. Um, the opposite of Moutinho, Chiesa has the welterweight record for least amount of strikes absorbed per minute. He only absorbs 0.99 strikes, but that's mostly because he's in the clinch and grappling almost 90% of those fights. So I'm interested to see. The line seems a little egregious just because I think the fight's going to probably be standing the whole time. And I don't think either one of them are great strikers. I think Chiesa's probably a little bit better. Obviously, Chiesa's still in great shape. Saw him his last fight. He's still ripped at 37. I know he's doing a lot of announcing stuff on the side or color stuff, but he seems to still be pretty committed with his path of trying to win fights. So it's not like he's nearing the end at all. So I think it's going to be closer than the odds are. I personally like the Mcgee plus 3.5. I think he's going to edge out around just with grappling, just back and forth grappling, and maybe a little bit of a volume edge. He does land 3 strikes, three strikes more a minute than Chiesa, but ultimately I think Chiesa is just going to be the bigger, stronger guy here, and he'll either win via clinching or just being the cleaner striker. So I got Chiesa by decision.
Um, yeah, we're somewhat aligned here. I do think this line is proper is a correct line. Mcgee did look good in his last fight against Tim Means. He was able to submit him. I don't know. That's not the normal Tim Means we see. I think we were on Mcgee in that fight, but he took him down right away and beat him up and choked him out very quickly. It was a pretty pathetic performance by Tim Means. Prior to that, losing a decision to Moreno is not good, and then he got knocked out in back-to-back fights. He's 40 years old. I was telling Red Ray prior to the show that he's coming up on the 16-year anniversary of his last TKO win. He's not dangerous on the feet. When he does get the TKO win, it's because he's taking down his opponent and beating them up. Gotten the finish that way. His base is jiu-jitsu. I don't think that's very promising against Chiesa because I don't think he's going to be able to take down Chiesa. I think Chiesa is going to be the one looking for the takedowns. Chiesa is a very, very good wrestler. His kryptonite is typically people that can finish him. We know he got finished by the Darce choke to Kevin Holland. He got finished by a Darce choke to Vicente Luque. I don't think Court Mcgee has any Darce choke wins. I can't confirm that, but I do know that Chiesa won a round against Sean Brady. We know how good Sean Brady is. He was able to take him down. And Chiesa's looked good in his last couple fights. I mean, again, it's to Tony Ferguson, who's completely washed, and but he looked great against Max Griffin. He was picking his shots on the feet, not super high volume by any means. Was able to take him down and get the finish. He is, a few years younger than Mcgee. He's a much bigger guy. I do think he's going to have significant wrestling advantage. Um, I don't think that he's going to be in danger of being submitted by Court Mcgee. Um, I don't think that he'll get out grappled and be put into a way that he could get submitted. I mean, Means got submitted by Mcgee, but prior to that, Mcgee did not have any submission wins since 2010. So he's not a much of a threat to finish, which is typically Chiesa's kryptonite is getting finished by guys. Again, he held his own and didn't get finished against Sean Brady, but every other fight, the only way he's lost is when he's been finished. Um, I think Chiesa is gonna dominate this fight, not in a way of beating Mcgee up or um, super dominant wrestling of controlling him the entire fight. I think he's going to dominate him in terms of outstriking him on the feet in a somewhat of a point fight. getting the takedowns when he wants to and getting in the pepper shots on the ground. I think McGee's tough enough that he's not going to get finished. Chiesa's not really a knockout threat, and McGee's never been submitted. So I also do think this is going to be a decision win by Chiesa, but I think it's going to be a very one-sided affair, and I like Chiesa by decision. Um, I'm not sure what the line is on that. I did not write that down. Let me check real quick. It's not available. That's why I didn't write it down. My guess is it's going to be around minus 150 would be my guess. But I like the money line. Moving up the card, we go to the men's lightweight division as we have a rescheduled fight as we have Paul Joubert Craig at plus 310 with the comeback on Rodolfo Bellato at minus 425. Red Ray, what happened the last time this fight was scheduled?
Bellato got herpes, I think. So
that is correct. But he must have got the herpes all cleared up as this fight is rescheduled. And for those of you that listened the last time we broke down this fight, I was very high on Bellato and nothing has changed. I think Paul Craig is absolutely terrible. He has lost five of his last six, with the only win coming against a guy who was just completely exhausted, and he finished him in the second round by TKO. He's not a threat on the feet at all. He likes to pull guard. I think the frame of Bellato is just going to be too much for Paul Craig. He's coming back up to light heavyweight. I mean, Bellato is a true light heavyweight with real power. I think Bellato is going to knock him out. Bellato overcame some adversity in the Jimmy Crute fight, ended up getting it to a draw. He lost the first round 10-8, but then he won the next two rounds. His only kryptonite has been getting KO'd. He got KO'd twice by the same guy, Vitor Petrino. We know how much power he has. Nearly got KO'd by Jimmy Crute. Trains at Team Nogueira. Has good jiu-jitsu. That's really only Paul Craig's way to win, is if he can submit you off his back by throwing up a triangle or an armbar. I don't see that happening. I love Bellato in the spot. I do think he's going to knock him out. The pick has not changed. The official pick is Bellato by KO at minus 150. Red Ray, how do you have
it? Last fight, I explained to you guys about how Bellato not good, but I understood that his path was to probably win by KO here. I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to give the whole breakdown. Bellato stinks. I've now changed. I'm going on the Craig side. I don't know how he's going to do it. He's got to win by submission. Bellato's dumb enough where he'll just knock him down, and then he'll get into Craig's guard. Craig will sub him. That's all you need to know. It gave Craig 2 more weeks of eating meat. He's going to be bigger and stronger than he was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I don't even think Bellato's going to be the bigger man. I think Craig might be the bigger man when time comes. They're both 6'3". He's going to be 205.
Bellato ain't getting down to 185. There's no chance.
I mean, he could. He has a lot of belly fat, so he could get down to 185 if he wanted to. So that's all I'm saying. He's not a good fighter. He's slow. He hits hard, but he's slow. He gets hit, and he doesn't make good fight IQ in the fight. So I'm not betting him. I'm pissed that he quit at the last time in the day of the fight. So I'm not picking him. Paul Craig, second round submission. Put your house on it.
Okay. Don't put your house on that if you like your house. We're going to keep it in the light heavyweight division. We have Alonzo Menifield at plus 500 with the comeback on Umar Sy at minus 800. Red Ray, how do you have it?
A more competitive fight here. Sy's coming off that win over Dung Hu Jung, I think his name is. First time we've seen him strike for long periods of time, so that was nice to see. Usually he's finishing guys early, or I think he struck a lot on the not a lot, but a little bit on the regional scene, but against real low level opponents. So this was nice to see him see his stand up. I think his kicks are really nice. He hits hard, and when he gets somebody hurt, he goes these balls on the wall trying to get the fight finished. There's 2 times I think he rocked Young and then went right after him, and he throws combos. It looks pretty clean to me. He does get hit a little bit, though. I can tell that his hands are still trying to be at work, but Um, Most of the time, he's a grappler. He's taken down. I think he what was it Tuco Togos his first fight. Just took him down, submitted him. I think he has I don't know how many subs. I think he's got a mix of subs and KOs in his on his record. So
Four
he
KOs, four subs.
there we go. So he can do it either way he wants. So and you got Menifield on the other side coming off that win over what was his Walker.
Julius Walker.
Julius Walker first fight that in the UFC. Walker took the fight on short notice. I think it was like literally the week of. You would have thought Menifield was the guy who took it on the week of. He gassed about 6 minutes into the fight. He didn't look good in the weigh-in, or didn't look good. He looked. I mean, usually Menifield is one of the things he has is a good physique. Did not have a good physique last time, so really don't know if he's training or doing anything anymore. He got lucky that Walker took the fight on short notice and also gassed because, or else he would have easily lost that fight. He just was able to. They were just. I mean, couldn't have been more sloppy after the first round. I mean, obviously it's hard, but doesn't do much of anything else good. Striking has never improved. Usually he's got the longer reach in his fights. He's not even going to be close. Sai has a 7-inch reach advantage here. Not, I'm sorry, yeah, 7. He's going to be 4 inches shorter. I think Sai. I mean, Menifield does have a good takedown defense. I think it's 80%. I don't know if Sai had issues with Jung getting him down and controlling him, so maybe you can't take him down. But I just think Sai is probably the better strikers here. So if he wants to win the fight standing, he can. I think he pretty much can. He's got any path to victory here. Menifield's only path is if he lands a big shot and KOs him. But I saw Sai take a couple of clean shots from Jung, who's a pretty hard hitter on his own, and I didn't even look like he was phased by them. So I don't know if Menifield's hitting him much harder than Jung is hitting. So I'll take Sai by a late round KO here. But like I said, any path is his.
Yeah, we know Menifield is known for winning dumbest haircut a lot of the time, and unfortunately, he's not even going to win that as we have Montoya on the card. Um, I don't think this is a good spot for Menifield at all. I thought he looked really bad in his last fight. Um, I took a chance on Julius Walker, and he nearly won. I think he was just so exhausted taking the fight on short notice. He wasn't able to complete any of the takedowns, but he was very close to getting them. Um, was landing good strikes, not a whole lot of power on any of them. Um, Showed a good chin. Menifield looked slow and out of shape in that fight. He got knocked out in back-to-back fights prior to that. I'm seeing some people liking the odds for Menifield in this fight. Um, I don't. I was not impressed by him at all. I haven't been impressed the last 3 fights. I think he's looked terrible. Umar Sy is 8 years younger, 4 inches taller, a 7-inch reach advantage, trains at American Top Team, is absolutely in his prime right now, getting better every day. Um, does have one submission win so far in the UFC. Was the first guy to submit Tuco Tucos, who isn't like a super high level fighter by any means, but had never been submitted before that. And then had a dominant win by decision over Du Wang Zhang, who isn't super high level either. But I think this is the next step up for Umar Sy. I do think he's going to win. I do think he's going to get a finish. I have him by KO at plus 275 after Menifield has been knocked out in 2 of his last 3, nearly 3 of his last 3. We're going to move up to the men's middleweight division as we have a very similar fight here as we have Mansour Abdul-Malik at minus 800 with the comeback on Cody Brundage at plus 500. Pretty easy one for me here. I don't think Brundage is good at all. He nearly got knocked out by Julian Marquez in his last fight. Marquez is just as undurable as he is, and it was a back and forth slobber knocker of a first round between a couple of low level guys, and Brundage ended up getting the win. Prior to that, there was a very early no contest stoppage over Abdul Razik Al Hassan. He got submitted by Bo Nickel. I don't believe in Brundage. I think his record is a little bit fluky in the UFC. He's only 3-7, and I think it could be even worse than that. Uh, Mansour Abdul-Malik overcame a little bit of adversity in his last fight. Was struggling early in the first round against Nick Klein, who's a decent wrestler. Um, Never was in any real danger, but had to overcome a little bit of adversity. Got put in a couple tough spots. Is 3-0 so far in the UFC, all by knockout. Um, 27 years old. He's going to be the bigger, stronger, younger guy here. 2 inches taller, 4 years younger, and 8-inch reach advantage against someone who does not like to get hit. Um, I like Abdul Malik a lot. He's minus 800 for a reason, and his KO is minus 325 for a reason, and that is the official pick. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Yeah, pretty similar. Brundage is I don't know. He just has like a quit button that he just continuously hits over and over and over. I mean, he's got three. His last three wins are all in the first round. Um, Obviously, that dominant victory over Jacob Malkoun, we all remember that, where he had knocked. Almost killed Malkoun in the first round. Then he also slammed Zachary Reese, and then obviously the Marquez fight. But we also saw the Abdul Razak Hassan fight. He was getting hit in the back of the head, but he almost got knocked out twice in that fight. I mean, he landed one significant strike to Hassan's 23. The Bo Nickel fight, they landed in 2 rounds, 12 significant strikes. So the Cedric Dumas fight was one of the worst fights of all time. They landed 20 significant strikes over 3 rounds in a decision. So he will just not put up any volume. There's been multiple times where he just doesn't even land a significant strike. It's crazy. I don't know what his game plan really is. That Marquez fight was honestly, even though we know Marquez is about as low level as they come, was one of his more impressive fights because he did get rocked, and usually that's when he just takes a back door and just gives up. But he actually came back and knocked Marquez out. So, but I just think he's going to be just obviously. I don't know if he's going to be better in any facet here. Abdul Malik is going to be much bigger. He's going to be 2 inches taller. Brundage could probably be a 170er if he cut weight and was in shape, but he just sits at 185. So Abdul Malik, I imagine barely even makes 185. The guy's humongous, so he's going to be much stronger. His takedown defense, I think they can take advantage of him in the takedown defense or takedown, but he seems like he stuffs. I mean, he's faced 2 wrestlers / grapplers in his 3 fights. I haven't seen him. Every time he gets taken down, he gets right back up, or they just they don't get a takedown at all. So he's not overly wild with his strikes, but when he does get you in a clinch, his finish against Klein was wild. He literally took Klein's face and just threw him against the ground. And then clinched him up the cage. I think he landed the 25 straight strikes. I could easily see him just doing something like that to Brundage. So I'm with you. I think it's a KO in the first round of the second round here.
Yeah, let's go up to the men's bantamweight division as we have Cody No Love Garbrandt making his return after 14 months off with plus 170 with the comeback on Ronnie Barcelos at minus 200. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Obviously, everybody knows Garbrandt has been a former champion since the championship. Though he's been on pretty much a heavy downhill slope since the losses to Dillashaw. He's had the KO win over Asuncao, but coming off that loss last fight against Figueiredo, which he honestly didn't look that bad for the first round and a half. He was stuffing Figueiredo's takedowns and then was landing the cleaner strikes on the feet. And then he claimed that he got, vertigo on the ground there, which I don't know if it's true or not. However, if you did watch him while he was on the ground, he was kind of just laying there. So we don't really ever see Garbrandt on the ground. So maybe that's just how good his jiu-jitsu is, which is not good at all. But it was weird to see him how he was like defending
That was bad.
the positions. Like I think that it looked like at one point he just was like when uh, when Figueiredo got his back, he almost like put his head into the ground and just kind of like maybe he was like super dizzy and just put his head so he didn't have to see everything spinning. So I don't know. It was interesting positions that he was putting himself in. So, um, but normally he doesn't get taken down. It took 5 takedowns for Figueiredo to get him down. Um, so I don't know if Barcelos necessarily is going to get him down. I know Barcelos coming off that fight against Talbot took down Talbot 12 or 8 times. Um, but Talbot's a flat-footed striker with no takedown defense. He gets taken down by everybody. Um, so I think it looked more impressive than it was. Obviously, I think the odds were silly just because of uh, how good of a wrestler that Barcelos is. But if you just go back 2 fights ago to his fight against Christian Quinones, Quinones is not a wrestler at all. Pure striker, was out grappling Barcelos throughout the whole first round. Barcelos was not able to get takedowns. He was actually taken down twice. He was rocked in the first round. He was rocked in the second round. When Quinones was in the midst of finishing the knockout, he actually got clipped with a strike there that ended up leading to him getting taken down. He ended up gassing, I think, after that, and then Barcelos was able to get a third round sub there, but I didn't think he looked good at all in the Barcelos fight. So I think if we're going to go strike for strike here, obviously I think Garbrandt's still the better striker. He's much faster in the hands. He was throwing a lot of good leg kicks against Figueiredo before he got finished. Um, I don't know if Barcelos is going to be able to get him down. I just don't, and I think he's this much slower striker. I think Garbrandt could not get the knockout here. Um, I think there's a couple of shots he landed against Figueiredo that I think easily would knock out Barcelos. So um, I'm on the Garbrandt side here. I think he wins by either knockout or it could look similar to his Trevin Jones fight where he just kind of circled the outside, used footwork, and just landed the cleaner strikes, but didn't really do a whole ton. But I think just Barcelos isn't going to get the takedowns, and he's just going to be the slower guy on the feet. So that's my take there.
Yeah, pretty aligned. Barcelos looked good in his last couple fights. Submitted Christian Quinones, who's been submitted already a couple times before. Um, and then obviously had the very impressive win over Peyton Talbot. I think Talbot just really underestimated Barcelos going into that fight. I don't think he was expecting as much wrestling as obviously what occurred. He landed 8 of 15 takedown attempts. And I think that's going to be kind of a big difference in the performance from Garbrandt here. I don't think he's underestimating Hani Barcelos at all. He called him a dog. He said he wanted this fight because he was impressed with Barcelos in his last fight. Garbrandt been off for 14 months. Said he had bad vertigo in the fight against Figueiredo, like he pointed out. He said he put his health first. He credited the UFC PI for everything they've done for him, helping him get his body back in shape, getting his mind right. Said he has the best camp, great camp, best he's felt in a long time. He's been 3 years sober. Um, he said he reached the pinnacle. Was obviously the champion, but is still hungry and wants to prove that he still has what it takes. Says he still wants a Sean O'Malley fight one day. Um, I think Garbrandt's wrestling defense is a little underrated at times. I mean, it hasn't been on point always, but he is a state champion wrestler. I think he's going to be prepared for the Barcelo takedowns and ready to defend them. I think he's definitely the better striker on the feet. I think he could knock out Barcelos. That is my official pick too, is Garbrandt by KO at plus 285. I think Garbrandt is, I believe him when he says he's fully healthy. I like the matchup for him. I think he did defend the takedowns pretty well initially against Figueiredo, like you pointed out. And then, who knows if the vertigo was playing a big factor in that. But he said he's fully healthy. It's the best he's felt in a long time. And I think he's the more dangerous guy in the feet by far. So I think he's going to defend the takedowns and knock out Barcelos. So we'll see what happens. Moving up the card, Go to the men's middleweight division as we have Edmund Shahbazyan with the comeback at -185 with the comeback on Andre Petroski at +155. This one is very easy to break down. I like Shahbazyan by first round KO. Um, very, very good striker. A lot of power on the feet. His kryptonite is his cardio. We've seen the cardio really struggle. Um, every one of his fights is just because he's been gassed out. Um, the wrestling hasn't always been great, but again, the initial wrestling defense is good, and then as the fight goes on, he can get tired. He is getting into his prime. He's still only 27 years old. He's going to have a couple inches of height and reach against Petroski, and Petroski does not like to get hit. He's been finished by KO 3 times, one of which came from running into somebody's hip. Um, does not have a good chin, does not like to get hit. He is on a 3 fight win streak, but it's against all guys who don't have good striking. This is a big step up in competition in terms of the striking that he's going to have across the cage from him. Um, and as far as the kryptonite of Shahbazyan getting tired, that is Petrowski's kryptonite as well, as he always gets tired the longer the fights goes on as well. I don't think his wrestling is dominant enough um, to get Shahbazyan down early in the first round to grind him out to get him tired. And I don't think the longer the fight goes that his grappling is going to be such a huge advantage to where Shahbazyan can't defend the takedowns and land the better shots on the feet. I think Shahbazyan's going to knock him out in the first round. I'm seeing a lot of people on the Petrowski side. Um, I'm just not one of them. But again, I do think it's pretty clear that the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Petrowski. But I think Shahbazyan is a significantly better striker, and I think his takedown defense is decent enough that he's going to be fine. And I think Petrosky has no chin. He does not like to get hit, and this is the first real striker he's fought since Michel Pereira over 2 years ago. So Shahbazyan by KO is the official pick at +140. Red Ray, how do you have it?
The breakdown's pretty similar. I don't like either of these guys, to be honest. Shahbazyan hasn't made any improvements whatsoever since he's been in the UFC. He's been in 7 years now, still the same exact fighter that when he started. He a good striker, hasn't done anything to improve his cardio, takedown defense. Obviously, it's mostly his cardio issues because he does have decent takedown defense in the first round, but second round comes down and you could have a 115-pound female come in there and she could take him down. So, and then he would just lay on the back and get subbed out or TKO'd. So, um, Petroski, I mean, he's not an entertaining fighter. Didn't like that last fight he fought Vieira. All he was talking about was the best grappler in the UFC, and then he proceeded to go out there for 15 minutes and just strike with Vieira, and then claim that he was the best grappler in the UFC again, which I don't understand how that works. But then again, we also do see a lot of guys get their black belts in jiu-jitsu for winning by standing KOs. So a lot of things don't make a lot of sense in the UFC. But I'm with you. I just don't, or I'm with you on the fact that that's how the fight's going to go. I think Shahbazyan has one round to win this. Money line wise, I don't think playing Petroski before the fight even makes any sense because I think Shahbazyan wins the first round 9 times out of 10. He's going to be a bigger underdog. If he survives the first round, he's going to be a bigger underdog second and third round. So if you think Petroski is going to survive, just wait until after the first round. He'll be a +200, +300 underdog at that point. You'll get better numbers. But I'm going to pick Petroski. I just think he will be able to survive. I don't think his chin is as bad as everyone says. Obviously, we saw the Pereira knockdown and him knock himself out. But I do agree that that most of the other guys he faces are not good strikers. But I'm just going to hope that maybe he can clinch him up a little bit, maybe waste some time in the first round to get to the second round. And then Edmund will get up out of the second round and just basically fall over once he touches him. So I like Petroski by a sub late. We've seen Edmund get subbed by arm triangles. That's Petroski's only real move that he goes for. Um, so I think, yeah, Meerschaert just did it 2 fights ago. We saw, I think it's going to be pretty similar to that fight. He knocked down Meerschaert, I believe. He's not credited one, but he at least rocked him, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, and then he came out in the second round. Meerschaert was able to get a takedown, and once he got the takedown, he pretty much went right into the submission almost immediately. So um, I think that could be the path for Petroski here. So that's my play. Not a ton of confidence, but like you said, it's a either or fight.
Okay, moving up the card, co-main event, women's flyweight division, former champion Thug Rose Namajunas, minus 255 with the comeback on Miranda Maverick at plus 205. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Um, should be a mildly entertaining female fight. Rose is coming off the. Wait a minute. Sorry. Okay. Maverick's coming off the loss to Horth, or the win over Horth. I'm sorry. She didn't look very, very good there. I think she lost the second round to Horth, and then was able to survive and win the first or win the third round. But I mean, Horth's pretty low level. As she's opening the card compared to being in the co-main event. So I don't think Horth would have been the co-main event if she happened to beat Maverick here. So I think that was the fact that she only was able to eke out a decision win over Horth wasn't great. I don't think she's really been much improved. She's, like you said, she's small in height in the division. I think Namajunas is actually going to be the taller girl here, even though she's coming up from 115 and doesn't have the physique for 125. She should definitely be a 115, but she's actually going to be the bigger girl here. But obviously Maverick will be the stronger girl here. But her striking is not great. It's pretty much been the same. She's not great anywhere. She's just kind of throwing out volume. Defensively on the feet, she's okay, but nothing amazing there. She shoots a lot of takedowns. She gets takedowns against girls that aren't good with grappling, and she doesn't get takedowns against girls that are good grappling. So, and she can also get taken down. She has a 44% takedown defense, so she gets taken down all the time as well. She is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but unless it's a real low-level grappler, she's not submitting anyone. Like I said, Horth had her back last fight, almost submitted her with a rear naked choke. Namajunas is coming off the fight against Blanchfield. She actually won the first 2 rounds, and then she kind of gassed to Blanchfield's pressure. Usually don't see that with Rose. She usually has pretty good cardio, but I also don't know about her training situation. She's basically trains with her husband, Pat. I think they just go around and I don't know. I mean, she's like at a different gym every other day. So I don't think she has an actual gym she trains at. So I think they just like kind of just check in and out of gyms. I mean, she's obviously going to be the better striker here. I honestly think if she wants to get takedowns, she can get takedowns. We saw her take down Ribas and be offensively there. She did the same thing to Tracy Cortez. And with it being a 3-round fight, even if she does have cardio issues, I think it's good enough she'll be able to win the first 2 rounds, maybe Maverick, and win the third round with like just clinching and being stronger. But I got Rose here. I don't think there's going to be a finish. Rose by decision. I'm pretty confident. I don't see a path for Maverick here outside of maybe winning moments in the clinch. So so Rose money line parlay piece.
Yeah, so pretty similar breakdown here. I think you pointed out Rose won the first 2 rounds against Blanchfield. This is only a 3-round fight. I think Blanchfield is a much better wrestler than Maverick. She dominated Maverick when they fought. She's been in there with a lot of good wrestlers. Rose has Blanchfield, Tracy Cortez, Carla Esparza, Zhang Wei Li beat her twice, Jessica Andrade. She's been in there with high level girls her entire career, even going back to her third fight against Tisha Pennington. She has only ever fought the highest of high level, been in 7 title fights. This is I think a little bit of a step down for her compared to who she's been fighting. I do think Maverick is really good at what she does. I don't think this is a good matchup for her. I think Rose is good enough to defend the takedowns in the first couple rounds, and Maverick doesn't have good cardio. So, I mean, the longer the fight goes, it doesn't really even benefit Maverick. The only way she'd have to get her down early in the first round. I don't think she could submit her. The only time we saw Rose get submitted was over 10 years ago by Carla Esparza in a rear naked choke. You pointed out she nearly got submitted by Jamie Lynn Horth, Maverick, that is. So I do think Rose is a much better striker. Doesn't have a ton of knockout power, although we have seen her get a couple knockouts before at the highest level. Um, Maverick has no threat of KO or TKO on the feet. She only has one TKO win in her career, which came in her UFC debut as a doctor stoppage in between the first and second round. Um, yeah, Maverick's path is to get the takedowns and control, and I just don't see that happening um, against Rose. So I like Rose a lot here. And I'm not even like the biggest Rose fan, but if anything, I'm more of a fan of Maverick than Rose. But either way, I agree this is going to go to decision. Rose minus 185 by decision is the official play. All right, time for the main event as we have Red Ray's all-time favorite male fighter, Kamaru Usman at plus 230, the former champion, taking on Joaquin Buckley at minus 280. Let's just start on the Buckley side here. Looked really good against my guy, Colby Covington, last time out in mid-December. Um, I couldn't put Colby away without the help of the doctor, but he was beating him up pretty bad. Prior to that, he was on his way to losing a decision to Stephen Thompson until he knocked him out in the third round. Had a really good performance against Nursultan Ruzaboyev, which I thought that was going to be a good matchup for Ruzaboyev. And based on how he looked the last fight at middleweight, I'm still a little shocked. But just credit to Buckley and how good he is. Um, Knocked out Vicente Luque in a fight that Luque was paid to throw. He's on a nice win streak here. Um, uh, 11 and 4 overall in the UFC. Um, has been KO'd, but it has been a while, and all those KO losses came at middleweight to pretty high level guys. Um, Coming up on Kamaru Usman here, Usman, obviously one of the greatest of all time, 15 and 3 in the UFC, but um, his path has always been to take you down and beat you up on the ground. I mean, he does have some knockout wins, but those are to guys that don't have. Um, I mean, Masvidal obviously has great stand up. That was a pretty shocking moment when he knocked out Masvidal. A highlight for the decade knockout over Masvidal that no one really saw coming. Um, and he did finish Burns, finished Covington by TKO. Wasn't really a flash knockout or anything. Basically, his strategy is always to out wrestle you, outwork you, and beat you up on the ground. Problem with that is Buckley's got good wrestling, good takedown defense. It looked really good against Colby Covington. Um, well, I would say that Usman is a slightly better wrestler than Covington. They're both way past their prime, and I don't think it's anywhere near the level it needs to be to take down Buckley and control him and beat him up on the feet or beat him up on the ground. And I think Buckley's boxing and striking has looked much improved every fight in the UFC. I think he's gotten better and better and better and looked really, really good in his last fight. Um, is on that 6 fight win streak against good competition. I mean, Vicente Luque, Ruzaboyev, Stephen Thompson, Colby Covington, those are all legit guys. Usman's been out for a long time. His last fight, pretty competitive against Chimaev. Chimaev broke his hand, couldn't really do too much after that. Um, I know Usman took that on short notice. Prior to that, March of 2023, had the loss to decision against Leon Edwards, pretty competitive. And then prior to that, of course, headshot that got KO'd in the fifth round against Leon Edwards, and somewhat of a fluke win for Leon Edwards. But unfortunately, I think Usman's a little too old. He's got the bad knees. I think Buckley is in his prime. He's got his eyes set on gold. Um, I think Usman's got his eyes set on after fighting life. So I do think Buckley's going to win. I think Usman's tough enough that he's not going to get knocked out. I like Buckley by decision at plus 200. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Like you said, Usman, no bigger fan than I. Um, I don't understand why he's taking this fight, though, I'll be honest. It doesn't make any sense to me. Uh, doesn't I mean, I know I heard him lay out a path where he thinks that he's 2 fights away from a title, which, I mean, obviously he probably is. He's the threes was the champion for forever, but just don't know if he's 38 now. He hasn't fought in 2 years. I know he looked okay against Chimaev. More, it was just impressive because he's defensively a good wrestler, but he wasn't able to get takedowns. I think he did win the fight. I thought he won rounds 2 and 3, but it wasn't like he did a lot of work. Chimaev absolutely gassed out, and he was just he just did more work on the feet. But 2 fights before that against Leon, um, he did get 5 takedowns in the one, 4 in the other, but he almost made us think that Leon was good at grappling, and we have since seen that that is not the case. As against Bilal and Sean Brady, he's been absolutely smoked. Couldn't stop any takedowns against those two. So I think that was kind of starting the downfall for Usman when he couldn't even get takedowns against Edwards. I know he's been injured for a long time. He's got bad knees. So I just don't know where the path is for this fight. I'm possibly one of the biggest Buckley haters. I don't think he has any good wins. I disagree with everything basically you said about him getting better. I think he hasn't gotten better at all. All of his wins are garbage opponents. His last 5, Moreno is not good at all. He barely sneaked out a decision win there.
I didn't say
Luque,
Moreno.
I know. I'm just going off. I'm just going off the 5 here. Luque, obviously, as you said, quit. Ruzaboyev was at 170. Ruzaboyev's 6'9". He shouldn't be at 170. Hence, we did talk about this. The battle fight has been moved to 185, so that makes more sense for that
Gotcha.
fight.
I didn't know that.
But because I mean, Ruzaboyev should never be at 170. I mean, he basically looked like a stick figure at 170, so I don't count that win. He was obviously getting beaten by Stephen Thompson handily for 2 rounds, and then got lucky into that nice shot he landed, and then Covington is just doesn't fight really anymore, so doesn't throw any volume, doesn't really do anything, and he still was getting taken down by Covington. So I just don't think Buckley's good at all. He's not a good wrestler. I think he just got to this point because he talks a lot. So, but unfortunately, in this fight, he's getting a guy that's almost 40 years old and has no knees and really shouldn't be fighting anymore again. So, which just seems to be the path of how he's getting to the top. So, I think he'll probably. I don't think Usman's going to be able to take him down. Buckley's pretty athletic. If he does take him down, I don't know if he's going to control him there. Buckley will probably get up. His gas tank is pretty decent. Standing, I think Usman's a more technical striker, but Buckley obviously hits harder. I think Usman's only path to victory here is if Buckley comes charging in. He does a lot of blitzes. Usman throws a nice right hand down the right down the middle. I could see him clipping Buckley there. He obviously hits hard enough. We've seen him knock out a bunch of guys or rock a bunch of guys. And I saw I don't know if you saw the face off they had the other day. I know it says on paper that they're only like 2 inches apart. I think Usman's about 4 or 5 inches taller than him. I think Buckley either Buckley's shorter than he's listed at, or Usman's bigger. But Buckley was like at his head was like staring at Usman's chest. It looked like they were two different weight classes. So, but I just think Buckley by the 4th or 5th round, I think he's going to land a big shot, drop Usman. I mean, Usman's been dropped by obviously been dropped by Leon. He also got dropped by Gilbert Burns in their fight. So it's not like he has just a Max Holloway type chin. He can't be hurt. So, and I just think the over the 5 rounds that Buckley's going to be able to do the more damage here, and I think I see a third, fourth, fifth round KO for Buckley here.
Okay, let's get into the official picks. Again, down 2.99 units last week, still up 2.42 units on the year, 2.43 units on the year. Um, 1 unit play this week between the red and blue picks is going to be Cody Garbrandt money line. We pointed out he's been off for a while, said he feels finally fully healthy, best camp he's had in a long time. Got the vertigo fixed, was defending takedowns early and often against Figueiredo. Once he did get taken down, he claims the vertigo is a big issue. Got submitted pretty easily. But we think he's going to be expecting a heavy wrestling defense plan as Barcelos is going to be looking to take him down. Barcelos doesn't really have a lot of threat for knockout on the feet, which has been an issue for Garbrandt in the past, but not a real issue in this matchup. We think he's going to defend the takedowns enough and find the knockout against Barcelos. But we're going to do 1 unit on the Garbrandt money line at plus 165. Is that what we have it at, Red Ray?
175.
Plus 175. The 2 unit play, we are going to do under 1.5 rounds in the Mansour Abdul-Malik and Cody Brundage fight. We really like Abdul-Malik by KO, but that line is minus 325. So we're going to do the under 1.5 instead at minus 188. Brundage has a great track record of not going over 1.5 rounds, whether he's getting finished or it is one of his lone finishes in the UFC. They always come usually in the first round. Abdul-Malik 3-0 in the UFC, all KO wins. Brundage just not durable, easily finished. Is all or nothing really in the first round. So we think Abdul-Malik's going to finish him pretty early. We like the under 1.5 at minus 188. Red Ray, you want to give out our 3 unit play?
3 units. We're going to put Buckley and Rose in a parlay. It's going to be minus 114. I just broke down I don't see a path for Usman here against Buckley, so that's pretty locked in. And we're both on Rose as well. Same fight breakdown there. We just think Rose is the better striker, probably the better grappler also. Very limited paths to victory for Maverick there. So they're both in the minus 270, 230 ranges. So just combine them together, get them almost even money there.
Okay. I'll give up my picks first. Pretty easy to remember, easy to lock in this week. Doing all 3 units on a three-man parlay. First off, Michael Chiesa. I like this matchup for him. He doesn't face a lot of threat with Court Mcgee being able to finish him on the feet or find a submission win. Hasn't had a submission win since 2010, except for his last fight, against Tim Means. But Chiesa is a much better wrestler, grappler than Tim Means. Tim Means mostly a striker. Chiesa going to be the bigger guy, bigger frame. I think he's going to out volume him on the feet, out point him on the feet, find the takedowns when he wants them. Has looked great in his last 2 fights. I think this line is correct for Chiesa. I like him a lot at minus 345. The next leg on the parlay is going to be Rodolfo Bellato at minus 425. Paul Craig has lost 5 of his last 6 fights. Very finishable. His only path is to submit you off of his back on the ground. Bellato trains with the Nogueira brothers, has good jiu-jitsu. His really only kryptonite has been getting knocked out. And we know Paul Craig is not capable of that. I think Bellato is going to knock him out. Just going to do the money line to play it safe, though, at minus 395. And then the final leg, Ricky Simone, minus 500, taking on the short notice opponent, Cameron Smotherman. Smotherman coming off a loss against a much lower level competition, in my opinion, in Sayur City. Um, I think Simone's going to be able to take him down at will, beat him up. Could even knock him out on the feet. We just saw him knock out Basharat. Simone been in there with some of the highest level guys in the division. I think this is a big step down in competition for him. He's still in the prime of his career, 32 years old, and I think he's going to dominate this fight. So the three of them together comes to minus 108. I'm doing all 3 units on it, coming off a pretty good week for me last week. So Red Ray, let's hear your picks.
All right, I'm going to have 4 plays here. We're going to start with 1.65 units on the Wellmaker fight. I got the under 1.5 there. It's minus 165. Obviously, Wellmaker is minus 2,000 on some books right now. So I think he finishes in the first round. I was deciding between the Wellmaker first round KO, which is plus 100. But I'll give myself the extra 2.5 minutes here and just take the minus 165. Obviously, it also covers that Moutinho somehow magically wins, but I don't see that occurring. I'm also going to put a unit on Jose Ochoa inside the distance, plus 150. Broke that down. I think he could knock out or sub Durden. I think he has multiple paths there. I just think with Durden's got a questionable chin at this point. His big can be hurt. He could be hurt standing. I think it could be a club and sub. I just think Ochoa's got multiple paths there. So, and then I'm going to throw my last 0.35 units. I'm going to split them on one play here. I got 0.2 units on the Andre Petroski sub in round 2, plus 1,800. And then I'm going to put 0.15 units on Petroski sub round 3, plus 2,500. I think the numbers are wildly high. Obviously, we're only playing 0.5 units in both of them. So, but I just think that's a majority of Petroski's win output here. And like I did say, I don't think you should play Petroski's money line, obviously, or before the fight. But if you're going to get plus 1,800 and plus 2,500 for a guy who has a very good chance of subbing in this second and third round, I don't think he's going to KO Edmund. So I think he's either got the sub in those 2 rounds or the decision. So I like that, the astronomical odds there for those.
Okay. It's a pretty chalky week this week. Not a lot of underdogs that we like. The only underdog that we liked was Cody Garbrandt with the 1 unit play there. So just keep that in mind as you're watching the fights this week. A lot of big favorites, but I think we're going to see a lot of finishes. I'm looking forward to this card. This is live in Atlanta, Georgia, so we're out of the Apex still, which always makes things better. A lot of good names on this card, a lot of former champions. Looking forward to watching it and giving out the picks on x.com/RNB Fight Picks. Always recapping each fight and each pick as they go on live. So please give us a follow. Please subscribe. And looking forward to recapping and breaking down next week as we go to Baca, UFC Fight Night, Hill versus Roundtree. So until then, thanks for listening. Good luck and happy handicapping.